great. Thank you, Wendy. And this is very, very much a quick overview of project management and how we're seeing the melding of predictive and other life cycles, software development life cycles. Some people will call them rolling waves. Some people call them agile. We'll also be taking a look at Scrum. But there are a lot of similarities. And as a person that started the journey many, many years ago and has done project management very scalable and then got into the total quality management movement, I think it's very interesting to see how all of these things are coming together. I recently attended another seminar for Scaled Agile, and I started to see there that from a organizational perspective, we're seeing many, many different styles of project management coming together and being used as appropriate. So what you're about to see is very much an overview, and I could stretch this out to a workshop to be all day long, but what you're going to get is an overview and a very fast overview as we go forward here. Let me see if it'll go ahead and advance the slide here. There we go. So kind of covered what we're going to cover, but it is very much an accidental profession. Generally, people get into project management by the boss saying, come over here, you've got some spare time, and now you're a project manager. Most people don't get any formal training. They didn't get any in high school. They don't even know how to set goals and objectives and prioritize and make decisions. Likewise, a lot of it for many years has been the same in colleges and universities. So the certifications have been kind of picking up a lot of the slack. And so we're going to look at Project Management Institute's PM 101. And then I'm going to go through some of the key things that I think give you the most bang for the buck, provide some of the biggest value if you are doing project management. Of course, you'd have to take a more application course, maybe 2 to 4 days, to get all of the information that you would need, and it's only as good as applying it, so it's good to practice. And then we're going to take a look at kind of what's happening right now in the industry as far as Agile, when to use Agile, Scrum, and some of the other more adaptive approaches, Lean and Kanban, very quickly, and then we'll talk about the key course takeaways. So we're going to cover on a tremendous amount of information quickly today. And so hang on, get ready. It'll be a little bit like a rodeo. I keep getting this coming up here, so I'm not sure if I have to go down like this. Okay. So the accidental profession, as I was mentioning, I'm having problems going up and down here. Generally speaking, you should look at who has the skill set and who has the experience. And just because maybe somebody has a certification doesn't necessarily mean that they have a piece of paper, but it doesn't necessarily mean they know how to do project management. And so when I look at project management, I think that people have to know how to use a metaphor, they have to manage a project of taking a aircraft carrier maybe from San Diego to Singapore, and that's more predictive and certainly not very agile like a small boat would be, like a PT boat, or some of the sorties that are flying off the flight deck. But it's good to understand that you have this. Let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and turn the video off here because I'm getting a message. So maybe it's causing audio problems too. So let me know. So we tend to look at who is available more than who is qualified, and lots of times we set people up for failure. As the manager of project managers for the state of Texas in their MIS department, I had several project managers that were reporting to me, and a lot of times what would happen is we had some of the more experienced and good project managers, and they were already assigned, and then other new projects would come available to work on, and we would look more towards the people that were available rather than looking at were they trained, were they ready to take on a project like that. And so I have the little picture here, and we are broadcasting from Texas, so I have this picture of rodeo project management where I thought a lot of people just hang on to the steer or hang on to the horse as long as they can, and hopefully they won't get kicked in the head as they go forward. Try and see if I can get this I'm still having some issues here, Wendy, with WebEx. So as far as advancing the slides. One day I was kind of sitting and I thought, we can make this pretty easy. When I look at project management, I kind of thought of that commercial from Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza. And I started to look at some of the people that were in my organization, and I thought, well, some of them are trained, some of them are not trained, and the people who were good at being these process experts, which a good project manager is a process expert because they're good at managing intelligence. So better people, better process. Well, what happens when you have better people, more trained people, and you have better process, then you're releasing a better product. But even more than that, according to Total Quality Management, you're also having an impact on the environment where you work. So on the Project Management Institute PMP exam and CAPM exam, they call that the enterprise environmental factors. But there are capability maturity models out there and organizational process maturity models that are out there. Boeing noticed that when they started to apply project management and more consistent methodology within the people within their organization, they were able to do twice as much work in half the time with half the people. So there is a good return on investment for being this, not a subject matter expert, but a process matter expert. And so we look at how can we increase the maturity level, if you will, the process maturity level within the people so we can provide better processes, which are part of the standards that Project Management Institute and Scrum and SAFe have, for instance, and that produces the better product and also has an aspect on, or also has an impact on the kind of the overall morale of the organization. So I think that there's a lot of overlap between quality people, quality process, quality product, and then quality place as well, the environment. When you look at what some of the cross-cutting knowledge and skills are that the Project Management Institute believes are so important, we look at the fact that a project manager generally has to get things done without formal authority. So they have to lead the people but manage the project. And a great way to lead the people is be influential. And what I like to use a term called being ask assertive, or being the ASK master. In other words, the master at asking questions to get people to buy in. You're a lot better to get consensus, and you're a lot better to get commitment if, rather than tell people what to do, you ask them to buy in and you try to get that commitment. So when you look at these cross-cutting knowledge and skills, and I'm not going to read all of the slides out, there's a lot of information here, but you'll notice that to be good and be influential within your organization, you want to be effective at collaborating, communicating. You want to understand the environment. You want to be, for the most part, you want to be positive. If you're negative, then you probably wouldn't expect anybody to follow you. And to be a facilitator. And when I teach my application classes, I like to teach things like flip chart etiquette and how to use Post-its on a dry erase board to determine how to do a work breakdown structure, and then how to do a precedence diagramming method, a network diagram. We'll talk a little bit about those. But I believe in getting the team involved, and so I believe in some of these low-tech ways where you will are more apt to get the whole team involved in planning, and in that way you'll get a lot more people involved in the commitment as well. And all these things lead to better decision making and better problem solving, better intelligence, better process, better projects. And if you've done any studying in project management, you know that good project managers are always looking for ways to balance the constraints. There's always the trade-off between what resources you have available, what the boundaries of the scope are, your schedule, your time limits, the amount of money that you have for your project, and then you can tweak it a little bit by adjusting